I'm Melissa and welcome to Oh My Word, Melly. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the books that I read in June. So June was the month where I was just getting out of a reading slump and finding or rediscovering my love for reading, we'll have to say. And in June, I read 5 books that included 3 full-length novels as well as and 2 novellas actually, which I really enjoyed, and I'm really happy to have my groove back, I have to say. So without further ado, let's see what books I read in June and my thoughts and what these books are about as well. So the first book of June, actually I started reading this book in May or towards the end of May, and I really couldn't finish at least 20 to 30% by the end of May. So this automatically fell into June as my first read of the month, and that is Pint of Contention, which is the 3rd book of the King Family series by Susanna Nix. And guys, I love the other 2 books of the series as well, which is My Corn and Only as well as Cream and Punishment. Gosh, this King's Family series will be a 6 book series following the 6 King siblings. Their father owns this ice cream or creamery factory, and that's how everything revolves around in this series. And like I said, I absolutely enjoyed the first 2 books, right? And there was no surprise whatsoever that I enjoyed this as well. I really loved it. I couldn't put it down, and it's just such a wonderful read that I really enjoyed it. So this story follows the romance or the love between Ryan and Maggie. So Ryan is one of the step siblings in the King family, and he is like one of the siblings who is not connected to the creamery directly, whereas Ryan is a skilled wearing hunky dory guard and firefighter and EMT. So the way they explain this character, he sounds so sexy. And Maggie is the executive management consultant the King's Creamery has hired to help them with the company from going into a financial ruin, and she is not very warmly welcomed, we'll say, because her role is to somehow save the factory from going bankrupt and everyone losing their jobs, so which entailed she might have to let go a few of the employees that are there. So people really did not like her. But Ryan and Maggie end up being neighbors. So this is more like a neighbors to lovers, forced proximity kind of romance and rom-com. You just can't get over the tension, which I really loved. And Ryan is someone who has a secret. So he found out, I think in book 1, where you get to know Ryan itself, that his father passed away from his stepdad to a very hereditary genetic illness called ALS, and that he has a 50-50 chance of having it. And he just completely shuts down, right? And he keeps everyone in arm's length, and he stops having relationships. He doesn't allow himself to fall in love because he is worried that someday if he actually does have ALS, that the person he falls in love with will struggle and go through hell as well, which he didn't want. He was such a caring and thoughtful character, guys. I just absolutely loved him. And he was too distraught and worried that he did not even test himself to see if he has this. And Maggie, she's someone who has to do very cutthroat kind of work, right? And she's not someone who can, dig roots and settle down somewhere, because her work is consultancy. She just keeps on moving to the next, to the next, to the next. So she doesn't really have time for relationships. So these 2 adults because this book is unusual. This has like over 40 years old characters, so it's like love after 40, which is something unusual. I don't see it in a lot of books that I have read, so I really like that part as well. Anywho, these two anti-love I don't know, characters end up living next to each other, and that is when the instant attraction happen, and like no matter what they do, they seem to find it difficult to stay away from each other. This is obviously an adult rom-com with open doors, somewhat steamy, like I would rate this like a 3 chili rating kind of thing, and filled with so much of sexual tension, but they are still trying to get to know each other, so they are not committing to a sexual relationship either, but like there are things that happen which is like so exciting. And obviously this is a small town romance, and they fight falling in love. That's exactly what I was going at. They don't want to fall in love, but they are fighting against themselves because they are deeply falling in love with each other. And neighbors to lovers, and she is the first one to admit that she loves him. And I'm like, ooh, it's not like she fell first, because there was an instant attraction, right? But she is the first one to come out and tell, I love you. So I was like, woohoo, excited about that. And he's like this perfect cinnamon roll hero, like a firefighter. And this Maggie is like this slay all day bad boss heroine. Like, I absolutely love their characters, and definitely opposites attract. They have fake dating and like so much of banter, humor, and like dirty talk. Like, I'm like, whoa, this book just got it all. Also, this firefighter is in this group called the Highland Games, where they have like throwing of axes and like flipping of logs kind of thing, and they all wear kilts to, I think, to I don't know, commemorate or like to keep the Scottish traditions alive, or I can't recall which tradition this is. But however, the good news is Susanna Nix is writing a totally new adult rom-com spin-off series from the Highland Games with characters that we meet in Pint of Contention, and that's releasing this month in July. I'm so excited, I can't wait to read it, and that's called Kilt to Order. So excited to have another series from Susanna Nix as well, because her writing is so easy, flowy, and you are just hooked. So I just absolutely love it. But yeah, check it out. And guys, like, have you watched my festive Christmas book tag videos? If not, you can click up here, which I have done now, I think twice on this channel. And in that, there is this prompt where we think which is the fictional character we think will make the perfect Christmas elf, like caring, lovable, you know, everything. They got it, and I can't help but think of Ryan, and like he would make the perfect Christmas elf. That's all I was thinking throughout this book. I just loved this book. It was swoon-worthy, and it was dual POV, so we got best of both worlds, and I really couldn't put it down. However, I gave this a 4-star rating. I have to say I really enjoyed it, but compared to the other two books, this book was somewhere between like 4 to 4.5. I wish Goodreads have like point ratings, but however they don't. So it's actually a 4.5 for me, where I gave a 4-star on Goodreads. Do check this series out, guys, please, because it's so amazing. So my next read for June was actually a really hyped book, and that is Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner, which is who is the same author of Something to Talk About, which I still haven't read either. However, guys, this book just did not make it worth the hype for me. I just thought it was just overly hyped, and I did not see what is so exciting about this book. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're picking this up for the hype and, you know, for all the spice and all that you hear about it, then you won't be disappointed, because this book has a lot of spice. But that's about it. I felt like it was just sexual tension, these two characters sneaking around and things happening, and that's it. And when I say things happening, it's like the book says, okay, one particular scene keeps happening, okay, like you are witnessing that scene, then it's like this particular thing happened and next you are here, like that. It's like from one point to the next you have just fast forwarded and jumped, which I did not like. I was like, it's like they say things happened and you're like, well, I wasn't a part of it. So I did not like that whatsoever. I did not like the style of writing as well. I couldn't even put into words if it was third person or first person or second person or like a totally different kind of writing. You know, I'm not someone who knows to properly categorize writing yet, but like this writing is not something that I enjoyed at all. So I was like having mixed feelings right throughout the book. I'm not saying it wasn't cute. It's a sapphic female age gap romance where it's like the my best friend's mother trope, and this mother is a divorced doctor from this toxic relationship she had, and her daughter and the female main character are seniors at college. So we do have a STEMnist representation in this book as well, because the one of the or the senior in college main character wants to become like I don't know, astronaut or something to do with space, and then the other female main character is a doctor. So women in science or STEM kind of representation is there, and like age gap romance, which was really good. And like a one night stand gone wrong because they just end up in a club a little bit away from college, where this one doesn't know she's my best friend's mother, nor does Erin know that Casey is her daughter's best friend. And so it had a lot of LGBTQ representation, forbidden love. It was spicy, I won't say no. It had dual POV as well, and instant attraction, a lot of tension and a lot of chemistry, but however it just wasn't for me, I guess. So I gave it a 3-star rating. It was just mixed feelings whatsoever. I just read it through. I really liked the book, but however it wasn't worth the hype for me. So anyway, y'all can check it out, because I know some of my friends have absolutely adored this book. So everyone's opinion does depend on how they read or what they like to read. So this is just my opinion. So do check this out and let me know what you think of this book. If you do read it, in the comments down below as well. I would like to discuss about this book with you all. My next read, oh my word guys, I was like super stoked and excited. I was waiting for this book to be released, and that is Unfortunately Yours, which is the second and final installment of a Wine Mess duology by none other than Tessa Bailey. Gosh guys, let's start with this. I gave this a 5-star read. I absolutely devoured this book. I loved this book. I loved everything. Like, I loved this more than Secretly Yours. I think it was Secretly Yours, right? The first book. I just, like, that was the sweet and cute read, but this just was amazing. Like, even the plot was well thought through. It wasn't cringy like the first one. I just absolutely even loved the characters. So this had like an enemies to lovers, a marriage of convenience. So first they start fake dating, and a marriage of convenience, because the two main characters, Natalie and August, they want, so Natalie actually wants her trust fund from her father, who has all these olden day rules, like you have to be married, you have to have a proper job in order to get it, whereas August wants a loan to continue his winemaking business that he started for his friend who passed away, or in remembrance of him. So, and August needs to be married to get the loan, so then they fake date for several days, so that they can pretend that they actually dated and thereby get married. So marriage of convenience, which I absolutely loved. God, these two just can't stand each other. And even in book 1, where we get to know them, they are like if you keep them in one room, they will murder each other. They're kind of enemies, but like they get together and they're getting married and like forced to live together. Oh my word, the forced proximity. But like August really wants to get in with her, and like the sexual tension, and Natalie, no matter how much she tries to push August away, has some kind of feelings and she can't help being attracted to him either. That tension in one house was like, okay. And it's like opposite attracts, and this, it's a Tessa Bailey book, right? So it's open door, so I would give this like a 3 to 4 spice or chili rating. And also like I really couldn't put this down. And so this is a small town romance, and Natalie is like this girl boss, and she is headstrong, and she, when she puts her mind into something, she will somehow achieve it. Whereas August is an ex-Navy SEAL and is really caring, thoughtful, as well as, you know, snarky with his comments. My God, the banter between Natalie and August, like all the snarky comments, the pranks, and you know, the sarcastic comebacks. I was like, oh, burn for every comeback. I just loved their chemistry. August is also like this cinnamon roll kind of guy as well. You know, like all these days now, this being, he's a cinnamon roll and he's a cinnamon roll kind of rating. I have to agree, I get the point now. He falls first, guys. Like, he realizes it's not a marriage of convenience for him, that he actually has feelings and he would do anything to protect her. And I'm like swooning, and he calls her princess as a nickname, and she just wants to eat his head off, right? And I'm like swooning here, like, woman, realize you are in love with him too, kind of. I absolutely really loved it. And there was this one scene with a flood, and that's when Natalie realized she loves him, and that's when I just had my heart fluttering. Oh my word. Guys, this book, I know I love Tessa Bailey, but this book, it's just etched in me now. I really loved it, and there are grand gestures and, you know, reverse grumpy sunshine, all that, because I find Natalie closed off at the beginning, but that's because all the stuff she has gone through, and when she just comes out of her shell, she's like a wonderful person. I just don't even know how to explain this further. Like, do pick up the Wine Mess series. Even if y'all didn't like the Bellinger sisters duology, pick up this Wine Mess duology, because it's small town romance and everything. And you know, reading this, I was like picturing all these Hallmark movies that are set in vineyards and wine making. You know, I have watched so many Hallmark movies like that, that I just kept picturing everything, and I was so caught up in the book. I just absolutely loved it. And there was one more scene, okay, at the end of this book, in the epilogue, I guess. I get confused between epilogue and prologue, okay. I think epilogue, where August and Natalie have kids. Sorry guys for the spoilers, but there is this one scene where August is talking to the daughters, and that's the man I want. Now my bar is set up here, no matter who tries to get with me. Like, I am in love with August kids. I just can't help it. I really can't. Just pick up this book and read it, guys. It's amazing. I just can't. I just love the book. So the final 2 books of the month are 2 novellas, and it's a duology of its own, and that is A Spindle Splintered and A Mirror Mended, which is the Fractured Fables duology by Alex E. Harrow. I think she wrote one other popular book, some Thousand Doors kind of thing. I haven't read it. I can't recall it either. And both these books are dark, twisty, queer, twisty kind of fairy tale retellings of Sleeping Beauty and Snow White. And guys, I love retellings, and these 2 fairy tales are some of the fairy tales that I grew up with, that I really enjoyed. So when I came across these books, I actually came across these books on TikTok, and I really had to read it. I just went in so happily because these are fantasy. It's categorized on Goodreads as like adult fantasy because it has like a lot of gory topics of terminal illnesses, assault kind of things, and cannibalism. But when reading it, apart from those very trigger points or like very gory topics, I found it very YA-ish. So if you all are getting into these two novellas, just check out the triggers, I guess. But I would just recommend this to anyone. If you all just want a quick read to just, I don't know, increase your counts, whatever like that, but I did not love them. The writing was okay for me. It was just a nice read. I was intrigued because the twists and the plots were really unusual, but when I compare book 1 and 2, I found book 1 to be more on the boring side, where book 2, the Snow White's twist was like, I did not see that coming. So this actually follows like a interdimensional fairy tale multiverse. If you all have watched, Spider-Man's multiverse, it's something like that, where there is a multiverse of the same fairy tale, different renditions of the fairy tale, as well as cross-dimensional traveling, because this main character finds herself first in the Sleeping Beauty universe because she herself is one of the Sleeping Beauty versions, and like she's a damsel in distress kind of saving heroine, where she tries to save each and every fairy tale. Like, for example, Sleeping Beauty is destined to sleep for years and years until true love's kiss, right? But like she tries to save them from that, and then in book 2 she finds herself traveling across one dimension to another, to a different fairy tale, which turns out to be a very twisted, dark retelling of Snow White, which was really good. I did not even think of that kind of retelling or twist on Snow White. I can't tell more on both of these books because these are like novellas that you can finish in like 2 to 3 hours each, and like both books in one day kind of. So if I tell more, it's just I'm going to be telling the entire story. And this had obviously LGBTQ characters and twists that are LGBTQ related or queer related as well. And so the female main character, which this book is in her POV only, has a terminal illness where she is not meant to live beyond 21 years old, and she is going to, in this case, though she is also one of the Sleeping Beauties, she is not going to ever wake up. So what she does is she keeps hopping from story to story, dimension to dimension, trying to save all the fairy tale princesses, and it was really nice. I just loved book 2 more. So book 1 I kind of gave it a 2.5 rating because it was nice for a novella, but I just expected more and I found it boring, whereas book 2 just really was really good. I was intrigued of how that twist went with Snow White, so I gave it a 2.75 rating. But I don't think I was wowed by the writing. So if you want like a quick short read, pick these two books up because I really want to increase the amount of fantasy that I read as well, and I like fairy tale retellings. That's why I picked this up, and I really enjoyed it for quick reads, but it just didn't feel enough for me to rate it more than that. So that's why I gave it that particular rating. So pick it up if you are interested. I won't say it's bad. Like, I really enjoyed it. It's just I have read better books maybe. I think my expectations when it's going into books are totally different compared to back then. But honestly, pick these up if you still haven't read them. So those were the 5 books I read in June. What did y'all think of this video? Did y'all like my thoughts, the recommendations, and what I told about these books? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share this with friends and family. Also, if y'all have not read these books, please go add them to y'all's TBRs because I really enjoyed most of the books I read this month, and I would recommend y'all trying them out as well or reading them as well. So if y'all don't want to miss out more of me and my videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well as click on that little bell icon so that y'all get notified every time I post new videos. And also, with the promises of seeing y'all next week, it has come to the point where I need to wrap up this video, guys. So I'll see y'all next week, and here is me saying bye from Oh My Word.